On May 14th, the Boston Bruins lost their first-round series against the Carolina Hurricanes. This marked the third consecutive year the Bruins failed to advance to the Final Four, and 11 years since their 2010-11 Cup victory. For most teams across the NHL, the consistent high-place regular season placements and playoff appearances would be enough to satisfy the fan base. However, in a sports city as competitive as Boston, and in having star players like Patrice Bergeron, Tuukka Rask, and Zdeno Chara, fans would be hoping for more success than they've had in recent times. As we approach the 2022-23 season, it's looking like this may be the last chance for the Bruins to win before making drastic changes to their roster. Most of their star players are aging out of their primes or are on one-year deals that will complicate their cap situation once they expire. So, let's take a look at the changes the Bruins have made and the strength of their roster in what may be their last chance to win a cup with this group. In the past season, the Bruins swung for the fences. They made one of the biggest trades and commitments of the 2022 NHL deadline, trading John Moore, Urho Vakakainen, and 3 high picks to the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for Hampus Lindholm, who was then extended to an 8-year deal. As we know, this wasn't enough help for the Bruins in their short playoff run. The future looked bleak as the year came to a close. Patrice Bergeron was out of a contract amid speculation of retirement, and David Pastrnak's future looked uncertain. Young players and picks were moved out over the years for older players, and so it didn't seem like the necessary reinforcements were coming to back up the squad. It looked like the Bruins had whiffed on their last chance to win a cup. The first big move of the offseason was a big shakeup. Bruce Cassidy, widely regarded as one of the best head coaches in the NHL and longtime fan and member of the Bruins organization, was let go on June 6, 2022. This move came as a big shock to much of the league, as Cassidy was generally held in high regard. His record was incredibly impressive over his 6 years with the Bruins, but supposedly, the first-round exit this year, along with his poor reputation in developing young players, was unacceptable to management. The Bruins have played each season with the goal to win the cup, and came to the conclusion that that could not be done under Cassidy's leadership. 25 days later, Jim Montgomery was named as the new head coach of the Boston Bruins. Montgomery's head coaching record isn't as good or as long as Cassidy's, but he has cultivated a solid reputation for himself. After the coaching was solidified, the player personnel changes began. 2021 free agency signing Erik Haula was traded to the New Jersey Devils in exchange for Pavel Zacha. Haula had better numbers last season, but Zacha is 6 years younger. Both players spent most of their time last season as middle six centers for their respective clubs, and with closely comparable stats, there's a good chance this ends up as a relatively inconsequential move. What was much more important was the return of 2 long-time franchise legends. David Krejci was long rumored to be returning to the Boston Bruins. After 15 seasons with the club, Krejci went overseas to play closer to his family in the Czech Republic. Scoring 20 goals and 46 points, Krejci finished just outside the top 10 in Czech league scoring. After the NHL and Czech Extraliga seasons had ended, the talk of a return grew stronger. The rumors became reality when he officially re-signed with the Boston Bruins on August 8, 2022. At 36 years old, the Bruins obviously aren't getting prime Krejci back. Still, Krejci averaged near a point per game in both the Czech League last year and in his last season in the NHL. At worst, Krejci should still be capable of being an excellent bottom six center. Signed at only a $1 million cap hit, Krejci is a low-risk, high-value signing. The same day, the return of the Bruins franchise center became official. Patrice Bergeron was never going to sign for a different NHL team, but retirement was a possibility. The Bergeron deal became official on a 1-year, $2.5 million cap hit. This contract is an absolute steal for the Bruins. Bergeron explained that he left money on the table, that he wanted to take every chance to ensure that this Bruins team would be as competitive as possible. This is quite likely his last year, and quite likely Krejci's as well. He wanted to be a one-club player and retire as a Bruins legend. With these moves, the Bruins have extended their window another year. The goal is another championship, but do they have the firepower to make it happen? Bergeron centers what has been known as one of the best lines in hockey for years now. On the left is Brad Marchand. Marchand is a controversial player, due to his on-ice and off-ice antics, but there's no denying he's a phenomenal player and one of the best wingers in the league. Marchand has averaged above a point per game for the last 6 seasons, and is one of the league's best two-way players. Last season, Marchand scored 32 goals and totaled 80 points in 70 games, good for 94 points over an 82-game pace, and first on the Bruins in scoring. Marchand is on an incredible value contract, only counting as $6.125 million against the cap for the Bruins since 2017-18. Marchand will likely be the Bruins' top scorer again next year and is absolutely essential to the team's championship hopes. On the right is David Pastrnak. Pastrnak is the premier sniper on the Bruins and one of the best across the league. Pastrnak has broke the 40-goal mark twice in his short career, scoring 48 in 2019-20 and 40 last season. On a line with two 200-foot superstars, Pastrnak is free rein to abandon some defensive responsibility and throw everything he has towards producing offense. This top line is the key to the Bruins' offense and the success of their team. The key on defense is Charlie McAvoy. In his first year in the NHL, McAvoy immediately stepped in and averaged 22 minutes a night on the Bruins' blue line. In the 4 seasons since, his ice time has steadily increased. Last year, he put up 56 points in 78 games on a 24.5-minute average, playing fantastically at both ends of the ice. McAvoy, at this point, is arguably a top 5 defenseman in the NHL and easily in the top 10. He's proven himself to be the top pairing elite defenseman that every championship contender needs to succeed. The Bruins have the necessary high-end talent to challenge for the Stanley Cup. Their biggest potential problems are the secondary contributors and goaltending. The Bruins forward group should look something like this. The biggest concern is the second-line center, but if Krejci can regain his previous form, it's a very solid forward group. On defense, it should look something like this. Ideally, the Bruins would have another high-end left defenseman, but the group doesn't look far off in quality compared to the 2019 St. Louis Blues Cup-winning D-core, ironically, the core that beat the Bruins in the final. The biggest make-or-break question mark for the Bruins is their goaltending. Taking the Blues as an example again, neither their D-core nor forward group was particularly exceptional when compared to other championship teams. What was exceptional was their goaltending. Jordan Binnington caught fire towards the end of the regular season and carried that momentum through the playoffs en route to their Stanley Cup victory. Boston has 2 candidates to take that spot in a championship run, as neither Jeremy Swayman nor Linus Ullmark have established themselves as the clear starter of the team. The pair played 41 games each last year, and while Ullmark boasted the better record and save percentage, Swayman was playing in his rookie year. In the playoffs, Ullmark lost the first 2 games for the Bruins, before Swayman came in and posted a winning record, but ultimately lost the series. Given that Swayman is young enough to have room to grow, and Ullmark has very likely plateaued, Swayman will likely take over as the starter when it counts next year. The two's numbers are very close, but Swayman showed up last year when it mattered most. Only time will tell if he's up to the challenge, but a lot of pressure is going to be put on him in what is only his second full NHL season. The Bruins look to be a solid team top to bottom. There are a few flaws, but no NHL team is built perfectly. There's no question, though, that this is their last shot at winning with this group. 8 of their 12 NHL forwards only have 1 year left on their deal. Even if all of those expiring deals want to stay with the Bruins, the cap constraints will make keeping those players impossible, barring some major deals. Not to mention that Marchand, Bergeron, and Krejci are 34, 37, and 36 respectively, and while Father Time hasn't seemed to affect them yet, eventually regression will begin to impact all 3 of them. Most of the defense is locked up, but Jeremy Swayman will also need a new contract next year. This is another deal that could yield a huge blow to the cap space of the Bruins, especially since Swayman has been nothing but great at the NHL level. Essentially, to keep the core group intact and the roster a contender, the Bruins would need Bergeron and Krejci not to retire and to maintain their abilities, Swayman and Pastrnak to accept reasonable contract offers, and find sufficient replacements for all of their depth and middle six forwards, all while keeping the roster competitive and under the cap. This looks to be the Bruins' last shot at winning the Cup before there's big changes. They've changed their head coach, brought in new players, brought back some old ones, and have a solid roster. Despite a very competitive Atlantic Division, the Bruins should be expected to make the playoffs without too much trouble. Whether they're true Cup contenders, we'll have to wait and see.